Adults of Reddit, what is something every teenager needs to know? 2 related messages. 1. Almost nobody gives a sh about you. 2. That is amazing news. I always used to cringe when I remembered an embarrassing situation that happened to me, because I would worry about what others thought of me. Nowadays I don't really care, and I always keep in mind that everyone has been through some embarrassing things as well, which means they probably cringe more about themselves than me. The same way I cringe about myself and totally forget about others. Exactly. I mean, how many cringe-worthy moments of other people do you remember? Personally it's close to 0, so I assume people don't remember that one time I poured coffee in the milk pitcher at the introduction meeting at work. Parents F up too. Good parents openly admit their wrongs and use it as a teaching moment. Apologize to your kids if you F up. I can't tell you how many times I have yelled or placed blame when I shouldn't have. I always apologize and explain we are only human and we F up too. When you don't apologize to your kids, you teach them to be unapologetic when they are grown as well. Even as a parent, practicing this will teach them that it's okay to apologize when you F up, which will lead to strong relationships later down the line. Admit their wrongs? That's a thing that parents do? Huh. I guess mine are outliers. Adults don't have it all figured out. They are just used to the fact that they are not, and are usually quite good at hiding it. Dealing with your emotions will become easier as you grow. Even if someone says that their high school years were the best time of their life, doesn't mean that yours should necessarily be. There's a high chance your best years are far ahead of you. If someone says high school was the best part of their life, they did the rest of their life wrong. I came here to say what my father told me the day before I started high school: don't ever let anyone tell you that this is the best time of your time. Yeah, you should enjoy this time. It's fun because you start to get more independence and start to become your own person, but life should keep getting better and more interesting as you get older. Being popular doesn't matter as much as you think it does. Just make sure that you know how to make meaningful friendships that can last you a lifetime. Better to have 3 close friends than be popular and have 100 fake friends. How many slams in an old screen door depends how loud you shut it. How many slices in a bread depends how thin you cut it. How much good inside a day depends how good you live him. How much love inside a friend depends how much you give them. Shel Silverstein. Basic household management. Learn how to cook a couple of meals. Know when to tidy, clean up a bit, etc. Speaking from someone who moved out at 18 and had no clue. Oh, and look after yourself physically and mentally. The summer before I went to university, my mom gave me a boot camp in adult self-reliance. I did the laundry, the dishes, cooked most meals, and kept a big chunk of the house clean. She also required me to demonstrate at least 3 or 4 main meals, a breakfast, and a dessert to a decent standard. She wanted to be sure that when I was living under my own steam I'd be able to look after my space and feed myself more than just toast and instant noodles. Turns out, most of the people I lived with in university couldn't do half of that, and the best way to make friends in university is to offer chocolate cupcakes on day 1. Seconded. Some dorms have a kitchen for the floor you are on, at least mine did. Turns out everyone wants to be friends with the guy making several pounds of tacos. To add to this, living with a good friend can be the undoing of the friendship. It's better to find a roommate that you only know well enough to be reasonably sure you get along with them. The best roommates I've ever had were classmates that I didn't know very well prior to moving in with them. The worst roommates I ever had were among my best friends at the time, and none of those friendships survived living together. All of us adults still feel like we are teenagers young too. Take care of your body and enjoy your youth, in any manner you can. In the mirror I see a bald middle-aged guy, but that's not the guy in my head. Days before my grandmother died, she said that she was ready to go because it sucked feeling like a 16-year-old in her old, tired body. On her 100th birthday, my great-grandmother's advice to me was, don't live to be 100. It's not worth it. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard. Thanks. Don't compare yourself to others too much. No matter how perfect someone may seem, they're not. Nobody is. Everybody has flaws and makes mistakes. You're okay. Don't compare yourself to others too much. That's something parents should know. Stop comparing your kids to others all the time. Another thing parents should know. Please don't constantly put your child above mortals and tell everyone how great your child is. It creates the opposite effect and stops the desire to get to know your child for children in the same age, and it stops other parents from wanting to hang out with you. Not to say that you can never do it, I'm just saying that it should be in moderation. Not every conversation should be about the celestial you apparently created. You won't give a shit about things that happened in high school when you're in college working, except for that one thing that you'll think about just before you go to sleep, or while you're driving to the office. But you won't be able to do anything to change it now. 3 decades later, brains are dumb. I can pinpoint it. It's December, 5th or 6th grade, just cold enough to form a good snowball. In our school just about everyone had a clique of 3-5 friends and everyone else was neutral at best. As soon as you exit school we all made a snowball, half for fun, half for safety. You don't want to be caught without one. Another group of girls, some our age some a couple years older, saw the snowballs and started a snow fight. My friends returned fire. I just wanted home so I held onto mine. One of them saw me armed and ran over to snatch my cap off my head. I saw Ed and chased her down full speed. To this day it might be among my fastest 100 m dashes. In the end, we found ourselves at a standoff, me with Snowball a couple feet away, and her with my cap ready to be tossed onto the street with plenty of cars. A northern, cold, childish Mexican standoff, and I failed. My 11-year-old goody two-shoes brain couldn't handle the pressure. I started sniffling and threw the snowball away. There I was, in face of my friends and, as I thought then, my enemies, bawling my eyes out as a toddler. I had little street cred, and at the time I was sure I just threw the rest of it away. I don't recall the end of it, really. I just know that I got home with my cap intact, but not my pride. For the next few months I was seething in anger. Later on I calmed down, but never forgot Kara, despite not ever meeting her again. Our school was huge and I never looked for her. These days, I feel it encompassed who I was at the time. Too emotional to explain the misunderstanding. Extremely worried about my image, and yet unquestionably good, or cowardly as I saw it then. Kid that didn't throw a snowball at a girl who stole his cap. And now I'm thinking of that moment again. Thanks. Learn how to F up. We spend too much of our lives trying to do everything right, but the best lessons come from learning from our mistakes. There's definitely a right way to F up and a wrong way. I think I've managed to get pretty good at it. Learn to accept that you'll F up. Doubling down on a F up by not acknowledging it is worse than Fing up twice as badly. F up fast when you can, that allows you to course correct earlier. If your F up hurts other people, get good at apologies. On a related note, do your best to do right by those your F up effects. Be brave enough to F up, or else you'll F up by not taking chances. And those are the F ups that will haunt you forever. This comment gets a whole different meaning if you remove the word up. You will make mistakes and sometimes those mistakes will be huge, but that's okay. Whatever problem that mistake produced, it's only temporary. You can correct it. It may not be easy and it may take time, but you can do it. But that's okay. Whatever problem that mistake produced, it's only temporary. Unless you killed someone by looking at your phone in traffic, then it's not temporary. Right now you have massive span of life in front of you. Enjoy it. But remember, 10 or 20 years from now you're going to be much happier if you both had fun and also thought ahead. Read, exercise, hug your friends, show your loved ones you love them, whatever that means to you. This thread might be filled with ways to be a responsible adult and a successful person. Try as hard as you can to be a happy one too. Ultimately, it's all about how happy you can make yourself and others be. Everything else is just a means to that goal. And you can learn to be a happier person whatever your circumstances are. It's one of the most valuable skills you can have. And you can learn to be a happier person whatever your circumstances are. Learn to find the fun in small things. Accept that things won't always go the way you wanted them to. Find a way to laugh about it when you spill coffee on yourself on the way to school. And how to dust yourself off after you fail your algebra test, get yelled at by your parents, and say something stupid to your crush on the same day. Make the most of having to drive mom's old minivan, and the fact that you're exceptionally unathletic. Because here's the thing, there will always be things in life that kind of suck. You'll never be as smart and funny and good looking as you want to be. Your paycheck will always be smaller than the things you want to buy, you will never have enough time for the things you enjoy, and you'll probably always be getting yelled at by somebody. That's life at 14. That's life at 18. And that's life at 38. Figure out how to work within those parameters. Learn which piece of homework can be skipped to free up a few minutes for your favorite hobby. Learn to sort out which yelling is important, and which is just dad taking out his own adult frustrations. Joke with your friends about how you blew your chance with Josh. Buy the $2 Christmas ornament that makes you laugh, and sing way too loudly when your favorite song comes on the radio. Because learning to do those things won't just make adolescence more fun, it'll be good practice for adulthood. Master it well enough, and maybe you won't grow up to yell as often as your dad does. Don't blow your student loan on drugs. Don't blow your load in someone you don't want kids with. Don't blow off family friend gatherings. They won't be around forever. Don't blow your cool if you can help it. It rarely solved anything. Well, the third rule is negotiable if your family members are dicks. Note to self, blow off dicks. Pulling out does not stop pregnancies. Seriously, I knew a couple that was like this in college. They never had kids and eventually broke up. I remember thinking when I heard that, that's really stupid. Now that I am a parent, I can safely say, this is the stupidest thing you can ever do. Do not even risk having a child unless you are prepared to be fully committed to them for life. That sentence doesn't even come close to describing what that experience entails. If you have problems, you will have to face them. Mental health, marital, financial issues of any kind, they'll bubble right up to the surface. You have to be prepared to fend all that off. If you fail, you aren't the only one who will suffer. Use condoms. Use birth control. Until you know for damn sure you and your partner are ready. Use condoms. Use birth control. Until you know for damn sure you and your partner are ready. Or, if you don't want children at all, that's perfectly valid choice. No matter what anyone tells you, you are not required to have children. You don't owe your parents grandchildren. And you don't owe your partner children. Having children is something that should be done because you want them. I went my whole life thinking I had to have children, and it took a toll on my mental health. Then one day it clicked, I didn't have to be a parent if I didn't want to. My life became so much happier after that. Whatever choices you make, just make sure they're your choices and you do them, or don't do them because you want to. And it's what's best for you. 3 things I wish I had known. Figure out what you want to do, not what you want to learn about. Think about the actual work you'd be doing in a field. Science is exciting, but are you ready to stand around in a lab all day writing stuff down in the most thorough way possible? Money stuff. You don't get rich with the money you earn. You get rich with the money you don't spend. Be careful spending money on trends and be aware of things you want to actually keep, not that you want to have right now. Also, Excel is your friend. Learn to budget as soon as possible. Use every opportunity you get. It may feel like there's always a next time, but there's also no reason to not do it now. Whether it's that trip with your buddies or the chance to have a private moment with your crush. Don't wait for a perfect moment, not even a good one. Use the moment you have, because you won't always get another one. And you most certainly don't want to have a "what if I did that" thing haunting you. There's always a million reasons not to do something. You only need one reason to do something. The world won't care about your self-esteem. The world will expect you to accomplish something before you feel good about yourself. No matter where you work, HR is not your friend. To those teenage girls, that older guy doesn't think you're mature. He's taking advantage of you. Somewhat similar to relationships attraction for teenage guys. If you put zero effort into how you look, bare minimum hygiene, not washing your face, same 2 outfits every day, etc., then you shouldn't be surprised when you aren't generating attention from the woman who spends 1-2 hours every day on how they look. No one is gonna stop you from eating cotton candy with chili, but when they see how good it is, they'll pretend they were on your side the whole time. Personal hygiene is critical. You need to shower regularly, soap on armpits, crotch, and a crack. Use antiperspirant, brush and floss, and do your laundry. Other people will notice your funk long before you do, and once you're known as the smelly person, it's nearly impossible to clear that reputation. Make it a rule that you don't leave your house unless you've showered within the last 24 hours, are wearing clean underwear, and have brushed your teeth and put on deodorant within an hour prior to leaving. It sounds silly, but there is sadly a large population that needs to improve their hygiene. The adults giving you advice to avoid certain mistakes will most likely have been told the exact same thing and choose to ignore it, which would have been expected as they too ignored the advice. You're somewhere between 3 and 4 heartbreaks before you actually find love. Those breakups hurt, and you felt like that person was the one. But that's mostly just infatuation and raging hormones. Each relationship will teach you lots about whomever you are seeing. But, if you're paying enough attention, they'll teach you even more about yourself. Know yourself. Be confident in who you are and what you need to feel valued and happy.